Shuangqing City, located in the southwest of China, is one of the three major central cities in the Yangtze River economic belt. It is surrounded by two rivers and is known as the bridge capital. Because of its location in a hilly and valley area with many slopes, it is known as a mountain city. Say. The people of Shuangqing City are simple since ancient times, hard-working, kind, brave and upright, and they have all kinds of virtues in one. These virtues have nothing to do with Lin Bai. Lin Bai, now 23 years old, is poor Diozi. Both his parents died, he has a high school diploma, he can't find a great job, and of course he doesn't have a girlfriend. All he has is a street-side dilapidated house passed down from his grandfather's generation. The house is divided into two floors, with the first floor facing the street. The facade can be used for business. The second floor has 2 rooms and a shared bathroom for living. The house is quite old, but since the location is not too remote, and with the storefront on the first floor, it can be worth 1 or 2 million if sold. Of course, Lin Bai would not sell his only property. If he sold the house and sold the house, he would have to beg for food within a few years. Although he doesn't want to make progress, he is lazy, and he just lives by, but it is related to the problem of survival in the rest of his life, so he still needs to be cautious. So he opened a Ziobai computer repair on the front of the first floor, relying on people to repair computers to make a living. In the past 2 years, more and more people have home computers, and more computers are malfunctioning. He can earn from tens of yuan to 100 yuan to solve the daily problems of a computer for others. Although he can't make a fortune, he can barely eat enough. It was getting late at this time, and the weather in April was not hot, but it was not cold either. Lin Bai was wearing a nightgown and sitting in his repair shop. The shop was full of tattered computer parts, throwing them all over the room. Yes. There are few people outside the door, and it seems that there will be no business coming tonight. He touched his pocket and found that there were still 13 yuan and 50 cents in it, which was barely enough for a lunchbox. If there was no business coming tomorrow, he would start to starve. As for this month's utility bills, he could only count on the next few days. Business can be better during the day. The reality is so ruthless, maybe if he escapes to the internet, he will be a little happier. He just opened a computer sent by a customer for repair and connected to the internet. Today is April 1st, April Fool's Day, and the internet is full of a lot of evil jokes. Blizzard's official website posted an announcement saying that WoW will be changed into a shooting game like Call of Duty. There was also an announcement on the LOL homepage of the Fist Company, saying that when it is the Wuji Juggernaut's zooming move, you can't just click an R, you must enter up, down, left, right, left, Baba to release it. Lin Bai feels a little bored. He comes here every April Fool's Day. You see, my brother is no longer moved by such a boring joke. There is not even a smile on the corner of his mouth. Please, April Fool's Day can't think of something new? Be creative, you know? Lin Bai decided to be creative. Pity. It is very difficult to delusionally challenge the creativity of all human beings with the wisdom of one person. Even if Lin Bai racked his brains, he could not think of any new foolish ideas available, because all the ideas have been used by billions of human beings. Used up? No, maybe it's not exhausted, it's just that he can't think of it. Lin Bai casually clicked on a highly visited forum and posted a post. You stupid humans, listen to me, this uncle is the new generation of heir to the Demon King. Starting from tomorrow, this uncle will start the evil plan to destroy the world. Human beings, tremble under this uncle's evil halo, ha 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 ha. I feel quite bored after posting it. Such old-fashioned April Fool's joke posts will soon be submerged in a large number of homogenized posts, which will not cause any disturbance, and no one will comment on such posts. Interested? Hey? Someone actually posted back. Lin Bai refreshed the web page and saw the first reply. The ID of the replier was called New Generation Superman. Lin Bai couldn't help but sneer, this ID is really tacky, can it be any more ugly? I clicked again to read the content, and I saw the reply post, so you are the heir of the Demon King, I finally caught the evil tale, do you know how long I have been looking for you? Since you finally showed up, then wait to welcome you. Iron Fist of Justice. I'm tracking your IP address, if you are a devil with backbone, don't go offline for the time being. Ha! Lin Bai couldn't help laughing, this person is full of fun, he actually came to respond to my boring funny posts, but he is a good partner who talks about cross-talk. His fingers jumped on the keyboard, the new generation of Superman, come on. Let's fight to the death, see if my evil magic is stronger, or your superpower is better. If justice fails, just wait for the world to be destroyed. New Generation Superman quickly replied, justice will never allow evil to rage, you want to destroy the world, you must step on my body, your IP address has been locked, the location is clear. I will come to you tomorrow morning. Alright, see you soon. Lin Bai decided to end this boring joke, turn off the computer, turn off the lights, and go to bed. April 2nd, morning. The first rays of sunlight came in from the window in the morning, dragging mottled light and shadow in the room. There was only a pile of messy quilts on the bed. Lin Bai was no longer in bed. At this time, he had finished washing and was about to open the door to do business. Although he is too lazy to move, his livelihood must be maintained after all. Put the bread into his mouth and hold it with his mouth, so that his hands are free, he opened the iron lock on the roller shutter door, and pushed it upwards. With a sound of crash la la, the rolling shutter door shrunk up, revealing a crooked signboard Zio by Computer Maintenance. The early morning sun slanted on this signboard that was already very slanted, so a more slanted sign was pulled out from the ground. Shadow. Diagonally across the street is a hot pot restaurant, which has not yet opened. Directly opposite is a Gia beauty salon. That is, the kind of shop that turns on the pink lights in the evening and waits for the men to come to the door, but it has not opened. Lin Bai pointed his at these two shops, cut. Uncle Ben is still diligent, you are doing gross business, and you will lose money and die. In fact, the business of those two stores has always been very good, but the business of Zio by Computer Repair is not very good. If Lin Bai's facade is not his own, and he doesn't need to pay rent, he would have lost money long ago. Lin Bai often wonders if he should change his career to open a hot pot restaurant, or open a beauty salon, but unfortunately the specialty is not right, and he doesn't know how to start. Especially in the beauty and hairdressing industry, letting a virgin be a chicken head will inevitably feel a lot of pressure. A new day, or every day for Lin Bai, begins like this. Hey? A woman suddenly appeared at the door, no, it should be a girl, about 18 or 19 years old, with snow-like skin, pure and beautiful, her big eyes seemed to glow and she could speak. She was wearing snow-white clothes, snow-white skinny trousers, and a red cape on her back. She had a peculiar logo painted on her chest, like a huge letter S in a frame. Her appearance looks so beautiful and pure, but, besides the white trousers, she is wearing a pair of red panties, that's right. Underwear pants. A pair of red with lace silk lace is worn over the trousers, making it very eye-catching. If she didn't wear outside, she could definitely be elected Miss Asia with her beauty. Oh, no, it's Miss World. It's a pity that that wonderful pair of underwear betrayed her unreliability in the depths of her heart. Now, it is easier for her to be elected as a comedy star than to be elected as Miss World. Lin Bai rubbed his eyes. He suspected that he had read it wrong, but after rubbing it, he took a closer look. The girl was still there, wearing white clothes and white trousers, a red cape and lace, silk and lace. So bloody. The picture was so beautiful that Lin Bai dared not look at it. He covered his face and turned around, thinking that if he could not see, he would be pure. The girl said, "Your name is Lin Bai? A computer repairer." Lin Bai's feet stopped immediately. Does this woman know me? Oh, could it be that you are here to fix my computer? That's great. I don't care if you are Miss World, a comedy star, or a popular patient in a mental hospital. As long as you come to me to fix a computer, there is no reason to refuse. If you have money, you are not a hero. With a big turn, he faced the girl again. Since the other party is a customer, no matter how strange she dresses, Lin Bai will turn a blind eye and pretend not to know. I am Lin Bai, a well-known computer expert here, specializing in various computer incurable diseases. If there is any problem with your computer, just leave it to me. He saw that the girl was empty-handed, not as if she was carrying a computer, so he added, however, if you go to your house to repair the computer, you need to an additional 50 yuan door todo or fee will be charged. The girl sneered, stop pretending, I know that repairing the computer is just your superficial identity. In fact, you have another unknown identity. You are the heir of a big man. Lin Bai smiled and said, don't be kidding. What other identity do I have? Why don't I know it myself? Could it be some kind of grandfather, uncle, an uncle who went overseas, because they couldn't find an heir, and now I decided to put the give me all the family property? Hee, how embarrassing it is. I don't need too much, just give me 1 billion or 2 billion, and I'll be satisfied. The girl snorted coldly, stop pretending, do you have to tell me? She looked around and found that it was still early and there were no pedestrians on the street, so she wasn't afraid. After being heard by others, he said coldly, you can't deceive me, you are the heir of the Demon King, a new generation of Demon King, you are going to start an evil plan to destroy the world. Slow. Lin Bai hurriedly stopped, hey, girl, although you have deeply betrayed your mental state by wearing your underwear and pants, but I am not a mental hospital here, and I am not a psychiatrist. If you want to talk nonsense, please turn around and take 3 steps, there is a huge yellow juniper tree, you can tell your fantasies to it, I guarantee it will be a good listener. Stop pretending here. An anger flashed on the girl's face, you made a declaration on the internet last night to destroy the world. Have you forgotten? I am the one for you. The person who replies a new generation of Superman. What? Lin Bai's head suddenly woke up. By the way, last night, he seemed to have posted a funny April Fool's post saying that he was the heir of the Demon King and would destroy the world. The guy from Superman generation sang double reads with me. It turns out, that person who sang double reads with me was a mentally ill girl, really bad luck. He turned to leave again. The girl shouted loudly behind him, heir of the Demon King, take it up, this is an iron fist of justice. Cut. Lin Bai decided to ignore her, turned around and took 3 steps forward. Suddenly he felt that something was wrong. There was a huge sound behind him, like a landslide, like a tsunami, like a typhoon. Generally, it came from behind, and the whole world was a bit chilled for it. Lin Bai didn't know what was going on behind his back, but his instinct to avoid danger made him fall to the ground. Then, a delicate, small fist of Bai Shengsheng smashed from the top of Lin Bai's head with a hui. This fist was obviously going to hit the back of Lin Bai's head, but because Lin Bai was lying on the ground, the fist was empty. It smashed into Lin Bai's house with a mighty force. Then, with a loud bang, Lin Bai saw that his only property, the old house handed down from his grandfather's generation, was deformed, collapsed, and crumbled under the wind of the fist, and turned into a pile of ruins. Gravels and rubble were flying everywhere, dust was overflowing, Lin Bai was lying on the ground, he felt as if he was dreaming, but why did he feel so awake in the dream? What just happened? A fist that smashed your own house? What kind of monster punched this Nima? Lin Bai turned over and got up, and saw that the girl who called herself a new generation of Superman was slowly closing her fists. In the smoky environment, Her white clothes and white trousers looked even more eye-catching, and her red cape was hunting in the wind. Loud. Of course, there's the silk lace red panties pants, more conspicuous than any of the above. The picture was so beautiful that Lin Bai dared not look at it. A thought flashed through his mind quickly. This guy is not an ordinary girl. An ordinary girl absolutely cannot knock down a house with one punch. The key is that ordinary girls will never wear outside. Is she really a Superman? Lin Bai has seen a lot of movies about Superman. That guy is an alien from Krypton. He has unparalleled power. He can fly at the speed of light. He also has a pair of tailwind ears, missiles can't hurt him, flames can't burn him to death, he is the embodiment of justice, he is the originator of all awesome superheroes. However, Superman is a man, and he is also a white man. The guy in front of him is obviously a woman, and she is also an Oriental race, with yellow skin and dark eyes, a typical Oriental beauty. How could she be Superman? The girl looked at Li Bai's eyes and knew that he began to believe in her identity. So he stretched his waist, put on a slick, vigorous, and heroic posture again, and said, "Now let me introduce you again, I am the heir of Superman, a new generation of Superwoman." Lin Bai smiled bitterly, "Really Superman?" The Superwoman waved her fist, "I inherited the powerful power of the Superman family, my fist can destroy all evil, my body is as solid as a rock, and you are the root of evil that I will destroy, the successor of the devil." Lin Bai couldn't help complaining, "But you are obviously an Oriental. As far as I know, Superman is a man, and he is also a Westerner. He doesn't even have the right blood." Supergirl snorted, "That's not the point, could you please grasp the point?" "Okay. Grab the point." Lin Bai shook the dust off his body, exhausted all his strength, and shouted angrily, "Damn, I don't care if you are Superman or not, in short, return my house to me. Meow is just a little bit of property, and it is my only support. You actually knocked it out with one punch. What do you want me to rely on in the future? Pay me a house, now, immediately, or I will call the police." Whether the police can clean up Superman, Lin Bai didn't think about it for the time being. Supergirl was unmoved, and said calmly, "The evil stronghold must be destroyed, and you don't have to worry about your future survival, I will hand you over to the police, you will spend the rest of your life in prison, and there are special people in prison. Prepare meals for prisoners, and you don't have to worry about having food." Lin Bai didn't even have the strength to get angry. He rolled his eyes and said weakly, "Why do you have to bite me to death as the heir of the devil?" "He meow, I'm not the heir of some devil, I'm just an ordinary person. Do you really understand?" Supergirl hummed, "Stop pretending, didn't I say it just now? The post you posted on the forum yesterday has exposed your identity." Lin Bai covered his forehead with his hand and groaned miserably, "He's meow, yesterday was April 1 St. Supergirl said, "Well, that's right, April 1st, the day you made your evil declaration." Lin Bai said, "Don't you know what day April 1st is?" Supergirl said earnestly, "Of course I know that April 1st is the 91st day of the Gregorian calendar year, and leap years are the 92nd day. There are 274 days until the end of the year. Children born on April 1st belong to Aries." Lin Bai said weakly, "Can you dig deeper into the connotation of April 1 St? The Superwoman sneered, "Do you actually want to test the knowledge level of this new generation of superhumans? Well, I will let you see how huge the gap between superhumans and the devil is. Deeply dig into the connotation of April 1st. Look." She took a deep breath and said quickly, "On April 1st, 1130, Zhongxiang revolted. On April 1st, 1356, Zhu Yuanzhang conquered Jiqing. On April 1st, 1572, the Dutch War of Independence began. April 1605 on the 1st, Leo XI became the Pope of the Catholic Church. On April 1st, 1867, Singapore became a British Crown colony. On April 1, 1873, the British liner Atlantic sank off Nova Scotia, killing 547 people. As soon as she started talking, she couldn't stop at all. From ancient times to the present, all the historical events that happened on April 1 were dug up and said over and over again by her. Lin Bai heard one head and two big, and couldn't help roaring, "Shut up! April 1 is not the meaning of the mess you said, it's stupid." When Lin Bai was talking about the key point, the words April Fool's Day were about to be spit out. Suddenly, the sky darkened. It was obviously early in the morning, and it should be said that the sun should be getting brighter and brighter. I don't know why, but the sky and the earth suddenly turned dark, and an inexplicable cold breath was heavily oppressed from the sky. Lin Bai looked up and found that only the space of a few meters above his head was dark, and the rest of the place was still bright, where there was a strange black fog that was surging. Afterwards, the black fog dissipated with a swoosh, revealing from the fog a lady who was wearing a black leather jacket and a black leather skirt. She has a great figure, bulging forward and backward, like a devil. The leather skirt is very short, revealing two long snow-white legs, which adds to the charm of the soul. Her face is also very beautiful, and her eyes are very coquettish, which makes people feel one can't help but be fascinated by it. Of course, these are not the main points. The main point is that she is floating above Lin Bai. As soon as Lin Bai raised his head, his eyes pierced directly into the bottom of her skirt. They were also black. Lin Bai had never thought of a beautiful woman like this. Unexpectedly, the first thing this black-clothed royal sister appeared, was that she slowly floated down from the air, with her arms around Lin Bai's neck, like a goblin who is coquettish. Said in an ecstatic voice, "Yo, little handsome guy, are you willing to be the heir of this king? That's really great, the Demon King's family is rare, and when this king's generation is in trouble, there is no successor. Since you are willing to present once a Demon King, then this king can retire with honor. From today, let this king pass on you the evil magic that can destroy the world." Demon King. Lin Bai was stunned. Demon King. Superwoman shouted loudly. The black-clothed lady smiled and pointed a finger on his forehead, and said charmingly, "What? Are you surprised to see this king? Yesterday you posted a post announcing that you would inherit this king's will, and you also said that you would destroy the world, then where did the courage of the past go? This king has come to see you in person, so why don't you hurry up and worship this king as your teacher?" Lin Bai. Demon King. Supergirl shouted, "Sure enough, it's right to pursue your heir. I really found you, you are the root of evil, I will use the iron fist of justice to bring you to justice." It's so noisy. The black-clothed Demon King Yuja was still hanging from Lin Bai's neck with both hands, her whole body was hanging on Lin Bai's body, her plump body rubbed against Lin Bai's body, making Lin Bai's body her heart was itching, but she seemed to be fine. She glanced at Superman and said, "You are a new generation of Superman? You are so tender. Even if the original Superman Clark Kent is here, he is not the opponent of this king. You are shouting here. What's it called?" A look of anger flashed across the pure and beautiful face of Supergirl. "Take a punch from me, and then talk nonsense." She took a step forward, and her delicate little fist carried a turbulent aura, just like the one who destroyed Lin Bai's house just now. Just like a fist, the enormous pressure hits like an overwhelming force. Lin Bai was startled, and he couldn't help but want to lie down on the ground again, but saw that the black-cropped royal sister stretched out a hand and grabbed it lightly. With a pop, she thought, Supergirl's mighty iron fist, actually squeezed by the Demon Queen. The mighty force that urges the tendons to break the bones seems to sink into the sea and disappear. The Demon King smiled and said, "It's beyond your own power." Her wrist suddenly turned from top to bottom. She just tapped it lightly, only to hear a bang, and the superwoman disappeared. Lin Bai's looking down, "I saw a human-shaped pit on the ground. Supergirl was lying in the pit and had passed out." The snow-white armor was covered with mud and dust on the ground and became filthy. Her beautiful face was also blackened by the mud and dust, and there was a trace of blood on the corner of her lips. It was obvious that the Demon King's slap had caused her serious injuries. It's quite sympathetic to be in a coma like this, and it makes people want to spoil it. The Demon King retracted her hand and continued to hang it around Lin Bai's neck. She said in a charming voice, "This king has already killed the noisy flies, this Superman is too tender, and he doesn't even have 1/10,000th of the ability of Yuanzu's Superman. Let's leave her alone. My good apprentice, come and tell Master to listen, Master will start teaching your evil spells right away, let's destroy the world together." Lin Bai swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Although the Supergirl just knocked down his house and lost all his property, which made him furious, he was, after all, an education of kindness and justice since he was a child. A man who grew up in the land, although in the process of growing up, was ruthlessly polluted by reality, his sense of justice has been wiped out, and he has become a super daozi with no diploma, no serious job and no girlfriend, but even so, I never thought about being a bad person, let alone destroying the world. It is impossible for him to become the heir of the Demon King so happily. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Lin Bai hurriedly said, "This Demon King's sister, cough. I never said that I want to be your heir. You clearly said it." The Demon King was still hanging her neck, her plump chest almost touching Lin Bai's chest, and she said in a charming voice, "Last night." Last night, these 4 words were so ecstasy that even Lin Bai thought he was drunk last night and had done something that people and gods were outraged about, only to hear the female demon continue to say, "On the forum, you are not, did you make it clear? I'm dizzy. Don't mention that broken forum." Lin Bai said loudly, "Yesterday was April Fool's Day, it was an April Fool's Day joke, whether it was Superman or Demon King, do you know what April Fool's Day is? Tell me all about it. Get to the point, I've had enough." "What is April Fool's Day?" the Demon Queen asked curiously. Lin Bai smiled bitterly and said, "April Fool's Day is a festival where you can fool others in an upright manner. Anything you say on that day is a joke to fool people." "Fool." The Demon King's face gradually darkened, the coquettish smile in her eyes slowly turned to anger. Lin Bai felt that the surroundings were getting colder, and the air seemed to be getting heavy. She said solemnly, "You mean, you're fooling this king? You're fooling the world's most evil and terrifying monarch? Do you know the consequences of that?" She raised her palm to the top of Lin Bai's head, making a movement to shoot down. During the period of the new book, collection and recommendation are extremely important. I would like to invite book friends to collect and vote after reading it. I would be very grateful. Thanks for the greedy wolf alone, the unintentional scholar, Xingxinkyunkyun for the reward 1888, where the fallen leaves drift with the wind to reward 1176, Chi Cheng, Dayang Xia, names have been used, Point Elves, Mosquitoes are damned, Cloud Heart Chi-Ling, G10000 reward 588, New Moon's Elegy reward 500, Deng's Wofen reward 400, Lollipop, Happy Dandelion, I Love Dark Night reward 200, Re0, Book Friends 1409151902000733, FW Dang Dang is Loud, 5 Tang Knots, Evil King King Hai, Bao Sing. Tears are sweet, boring reading, Long Yin, Kanan, Yi Chuan Cao, $100 lies to play, Vey Fantasy, Irunus, Book Friends 1405072107174453, Sadness Sleeping reward 100. Lin Bai dared to use his grandfather's name to swear that this was the closest to death in his life. The Demon King's little hand is beautiful, delicate and snow-white. It must be very comfortable to hold in his hand, but this little hand is now hanging above his head, and he only needs to pat it down. Lin Bai's poor little head is melon seeds. The scoop must be opened. Oh, maybe there is no chance to open the scoop, it is directly photographed into the ground and mixed with soil to make flower fertilizer. She glanced at the unconscious superwoman who was photographed on the ground. She is a superhero, with steel and iron bones. If I take a slap, I will be seriously injured. What will happen if I take this slap? Come on, are you fooling this king, or are you really planning to be the successor of this king? The Demon King asked coldly. This is a not too difficult question. Lin Bai is not a saint, nor is he a hero who can be heroic at any time and who will not bow to evil forces when he dies. He is just a very ordinary little daozi. The road has never been set before, how can there be any restraint and persistence, and how can it be firm and unshakable? Lin Bai immediately replied, "Oh, Master, please accept the disciple's worship, you really like to joke, how could the disciple fool the master? Yesterday's post was from the disciple's sincerity, and sincerely wanted to be the heir of the Demon King. I want to take over your mantle and carry out the evil plan to destroy the world. Didn't you say that yesterday was April Fool's Day?" The Demon King said coldly. Lin Bai said, "April Fool's Day is a festival to fool humans, not Demon Fool's Day, so it doesn't include demons. I will never fool Master. The icy face of the Demon King began to melt slowly, and the charming smile came back. The little hand that only needed life was taken from the top of Lin Bai's head and hung around his neck again. "It's so good. This is the king's good apprentice. I like the way you talk nonsense. Well, from today, you are a new generation of demon kings, and this king can retire." Lin Bai Khan, "Master, it's really okay for you to retire so hastily? You should train me to be more mature and let me learn more skills before I retire. Otherwise, you will continue to be the devil, my disciple. For the time being, I dare not accept the domineering title of the new generation of demon kings." The Demon King said in a charming voice, "Oh, what are you afraid of? Although this king announced his retirement, he won't let go immediately. This king will live in your house and teach you evil magic while enjoying the happy queen. For half my life, yes, I didn't bring a penny with me, so for the rest of my life I have to rely on you as a disciple to support you." Lin Bai, "Hello. Okay, this matter is settled." The Demon King stretched her waist. "You wouldn't even be reluctant to do such trivial things as supporting your mentor, would you? Evil is okay, but it can't be too exaggerated. The Demon King's family also needs to be humane." Lin Bai pointed to the house he had turned into ashes and said, "How do you ask me to support you? I'm going to sleep on the street tonight. If we don't sleep on the street together, there will definitely be news headlines tomorrow. Say a daozi, a man sleeping on the street hugging a queen with a devilish figure will definitely subvert everyone's three views." The Demon King giggled and said, "This kind of trivial thing only needs to use a small, evil magic." She stretched out her hand, pointed to the pile of ruins, and recited a short incantation. This strange incantation did not knowing which language is used. It is definitely not Chinese, nor English, and certainly not Korean or Japanese. Lin Bai had never heard such a strange language before, and he saw a black smoke gushing out from the Demon King's hand, covering a radius of tens of meters. "Look, his house is back." That's right, that's a house that Lin Bai is familiar with, the slanted signboard, the rolling shutter door, the computer parts in a mess, his four-legged underwear hanging on the balcony on the second floor, and a piece of tile on the roof is broken. Everything is back as it was. How about it? The devil's special evil magic, the regeneration of darkness. The witch smiled in a seductive voice. It can not only restore the destroyed items, but also revive the dead into zombies. Lin Bai sucked in a breath of cold air. It would be free to revive the dead into zombies. This function of restoring destroyed items is quite good. The only ancestral property lost and found. There was a burst of joy in his heart, and he said with a shy face, "Master, since you can restore my house to its original state, why don't you make it a little more awesome, and turn it into a modern skyscraper with 100 floors? The two of us live on the top floor, and the 99 floors below are rented out. There's no magic like that. The Demon King smiled and said, "It's too small." She stretched out her hand to a window on the second floor and said, "That room seems to be empty. From now on, this king will live in that one. The journey is too tiring. After seeing the post on the forum last night, I managed to find out your IP address. Alas, I am not very good at using computers, so I am too tired. After flying all night to find you, I am exhausted. Go to sleep first. When this king wakes up, he will see the best breakfast in front of him." Lin Bai flipped through his pockets and found 13 yuan and 50 cents in it. It seems that this is not enough to buy the best breakfast. No, this is not the point of the problem. Question about lunch and dinner? The Demon King twisted the snake's waist and walked back to the room. Looking from behind, her demon-like figure was unmistakable. Her waist was only as thin as a grip, but her was round and towering. You didn't need to touch it. The posture of walking is also very ecstasy. The steps of any model are not as good as her, and the long ends of the shawls are scattered with many wild curls. Such a beauty lives with herself. If there is no life aspect threat, it is a very cool thing. Lin Bai was thinking about something, blushing and heartbeat, when he suddenly saw the Demon King turned around again, pointed at the superwoman on the ground, and said, "You can kill this woman, kill a righteous Superman. It allows you to accumulate a lot of evil power, and when you learn evil magic, you can do more with less." While speaking, she threw out a strange knife, which was made of green spar and looked very sci-fi. This is a spar knife made of kryptonite fragments, specially used to kill Superman. Yes, stab her in the heart with this knife and you can kill her. You want me to kill someone? Lin Bai sweats. This. Could it be that this is the legendary name submission? For example, when the green-faced beast Yang Ji wanted to go to Liangshan and fall to the grass, Wang Lun asked him to kill someone to see. Lin Bai felt a lot of pressure. Just now, in order to survive, he agreed to be a disciple of the Demon King, but he was really not a bad person. He wanted him to kill someone himself, and he was a beautiful girl, and she was also a superwoman. This challenged him a bit. His outlook on life and values if he ever had one. "Why, you don't want to kill?" The Demon Queen's voice became cold again. "Could it be that you don't really want to be the heir of this king? What you just said was fooling this king. You know how to fool an evil Demon King. Consequences." The gloomy atmosphere came again, and black smoke billowed between heaven and earth. Lin Bai dared to use his grandfather's name to swear that this was the second time in his life that he was so close to death. He felt his Adam's apple trembling and his hands trembled. He took the knife and stabbed the woman to death. Superman, doing so could save his life, but not his soul. Stand tall and be a man. Although Diozzi didn't make it through in the first half of his life, but, at least he hasn't fallen. What should I do to save my life and prevent my soul from being defiled? Say, to kill or not to kill? The female Demon King's cold voice sounded again. Kill. Of course I'll kill. Lin Bai quickly agreed, but he said casually, trying to delay time to find a way, "But, Master, you just said that killing a Superman will accumulate a lot of money. Evil power, what does this mean?" The Demon King snorted coldly. "Evil power is a kind of energy. Every time we use evil magic, we will consume evil power. For example, I used dark regeneration just now to consume a certain amount of evil power, so it looks a lot more gentle and kind now than before, don't you feel it?" Lin Bai cursed inwardly. The ghosts felt it. The Demon King suddenly said, "Come on, take it, this is a tester, you can use this to see how much evil power you have." She waved her hand and threw out a watch, which looked like a very ordinary electronic watch with a when the time was beating. Lin Bai put on his watch and looked at it again. The time on the LCD screen disappeared, and a few small words jumped up: Evil Force 0, Righteous Force 0. He was stunned, and the Demon King laughed with a poof. You boy, most people always prefer either justice or evil. I didn't expect you to score 0 for both justice and evil. You are really an alternative person. Ah. You reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Lin Bai secretly said in his heart, I'm just an ordinary citizen, little Diaozi, with a dull life and never even had the opportunity to choose evil or justice. Of course, I scored 0 for both. He raised his watch and said, how did you get this evil power? Do bad things. Such as robbery, murder, arson. Anyway, the worse the better. The Demon King said, every time you do a bad thing, you will get the corresponding evil power according to how bad you are, and when you accumulate enough when you have the evil power, you can unleash powerful magic that destroys the world. But, if you do a good deed accidentally, the evil power will drop, but the righteous power will rise. If you want to accumulate the evil power, learn more evil magic, you must never do good deeds. Although Lin Bai was procrastinating, he also developed a strong interest in this question, how bad do you have to do to accumulate enough evil power to destroy the world? The Demon King said, the most evil thing in this world, of course, is to destroy the world. As long as you can destroy the world, you can get the most powerful and evil power, and then you can use this power to release the magic that destroys the world. Lin Bai was stunned, so, in order to release the magic that destroys the world, it is necessary to destroy the world first. The Demon King nodded. Lin Bai stroked his forehead with his hand and turned his back to the sky 45 degrees, thinking to himself, the ancestor Demon King who invented this magic must have his head caught by the door panel. During the new book period, please ask for the help of book friends, click more, vote more, and firmly collect. Thank you all. Thanks to SUNLI0805, 00 Sheets 00 for rewarding 1888, Yingke, Amer Balls for rewarding 588, Yushuanko, Book Friend 14110204150033, Alms of Fallen Angels, Ziona marrying Tang, Lao Zi in full bloom, NZ family, Bill Russell rewarding 100. Seeing his strange face, the Demon King suddenly smiled. Okay, about the question of whether the great magic that destroys the world can be released, let's not talk about it. Kill a Superman first, and then accumulate a small amount of evil power. Otherwise, this king will not be able to teach you decent magic. Lin Bai has bought himself enough time, and the thoughts in his mind are slowly forming, and he spread his hands and said, Master, according to this, the worse I do, the more evil power I will get. Wrong. The Demon King said, that's right. Lin Bai laughed suddenly. The disciple thinks that killing the Supergirl directly is too wasteful, and it is not enough for the disciple to bring out the ultimate level of evil, otherwise, the disciple wants to give her a and then kill. The accumulated evil power must be more than the direct killing. What do you think? The Demon Queen burst out laughing. Yo, seeing that Supergirl is so pretty, you're actually thinking about it? Ha ha ha. Not bad, not bad, your kid is very promising, super evil, maybe soon. Overtake this king and become the real evil Demon King, ha ha ha. Then what are you waiting for? Don't hurry to and then kill. Lin Bai was shy and said embarrassedly, Master, of course, this disciple also wants to do it quickly. For a beautiful woman like Supergirl, the disciple really wants to swallow her in one bite, but the disciple is still a virgin, in that respect. I'm a little shy, I'm embarrassed to do it in front of others. Can I allow the disciple to carry the Supergirl to the riverside where no one else is, and do things quietly in a place where no one can see? Why don't you just go back to your room? The Demon Queen asked curiously. It's not good to go back to the room. I'm embarrassed to think that Master is in the next room. Lin Bai said. Pfft. As a new generation of Demon Kings, why are you shy? More evil things are waiting for you in the future, destroying the world or something. Is it necessary to be shy? A little embarrassing? Come to this king to check it out for you. Small? It's not small. Lin Bai was furious, and for a moment he forgot that his own life was threatened, and shouted, "Hey, even though you are a demon king, although you are arrogant, you look down on others in that respect. I'm going to fight with you too. Okay, it's this king who's wrong. Men really can't despise him, he he. You take her to the river to play slowly, she ate this king's palm, and she won't be able to move in a short period of time, as you please. You can play with it, don't let this king down, accumulate as much evil power as possible and come back." Lin Bai carried the immobile superwoman on his shoulders, and smiled, "Master, go to bed first, I'll go to the river to clean up the superwoman, first, then kill, first kill and then rape, then and then kill her and her again and again, play her back and forth dozens of times, and when I come back, make sure I'm full of evil power." Anywhere in Zhuangqing City, you can see two big rivers representing the city, one is called the Yangtze River and the other is called the Jiajiang River. The two big rivers meet in the center of the city, dividing the whole city into several pieces. Bai's house was not far from the river, and after walking for 10 minutes, he was standing among the rubble by the river. His body is not very strong. After carrying a person for so long, he couldn't help but get tired and panting. He finally breathed a sigh of relief until he laid the supergirl on top of a big rock. But just as he was free, he felt a hot gaze locked on his chest. The 5 words "hot eyes" are usually used to describe a person's enthusiasm, but for now, it is used to describe the temperature, because that look is shot from the supergirl's eyes. The original Superman Clark Kent can shoot laser-like rays from his eyes, and this new generation of superheroes obviously has similar abilities. Of course, her abilities are much weaker, so her eyes are just hot, not enough to pierce people like a laser. The clothes on his chest were immediately burned with green smoke, and Lin Bai was startled, and quickly took off his coat and threw it on the ground, angrily said, "Hey, did you make a mistake? You broke my house, and now it's still are you going to burn my clothes?" Supergirl spat out a mouthful of blood and said weakly, "I lost to the Demon King, but I will never allow the Demon King's minions to insult me. Even if I only have the ability to shoot eyes, I will fight you to the end. Justice. Yes. Eternal never give up, even if I lose, there will be the next generation of Superman, the next generation of Superman, the next generation of Superman. Eternal life and eternal battle against evil." "Stop!" Lin Bai said, "Let's stop talking about big things first, and let's study how to solve the problem at hand." The superwoman said weakly, "I heard the conversation between you and the devil just now. Although I looked like I fainted, I was just lying on the ground with my eyes closed and resting. You brought me to the river because you wanted to be right. I do that shameless thing, I won't give in." Lin Bai spread out his hands. "What I said to the Demon King just now was to perfunctory her, okay? I brought you to the river to let you escape." "What?" The superwoman was a little suspicious that there was something wrong with her ears, but she was a superhero, with downwind ears, and could hear every subtle sound from thousands of miles away. How could she hear it wrong? You're going to let it go?" Lin Bai said, "That's right. I really want to say you go, but looking at your current appearance, you don't seem to be able to walk. How can I help you so that you can escape far away?" Supergirl was shocked and inexplicable, and her pure and beautiful face was full of confusion. "You are the heir of the Demon King, the new generation of terror, why do you want to help a Superman?" Lin Bai smiled bitterly and said, "That's why I said it all, it's just an April Fool's Day joke. Superman and Demon King can't grasp the point, and even if he can't figure out April Fool's Day, he is still a superhero and a Demon King. I never thought about being a Demon King, I never thought about it before, I don't think about it now, and I won't even think about it in the future." Supergirl didn't dare to believe Lin Bai's words, but she suddenly thought of something and said, "Put out your hand, I want to see the detector on your wrist." Lin Bai stretched out his hand, and on his wrist was still wearing the electronic watch given to him by the devil just now. Oh, it should be a detector of the forces of justice and evil. I saw that the words on the detector had changed. It is 0 for good and 0 for evil, but now, the force of good has become 25, and the column of evil is showing 25. Supergirl let out a sigh of relief. You really came to help me, because your heart wants to help me, and you have successfully helped me temporarily escape the grasp of the devil, so you have already got 25 points of justice power, and the evil power has become 25. I think, I can already trust you. Lin Bai shook his wrist. 25 points of justice power, what can I use it for? Supergirl said earnestly, you can cast a healing superpower on me once. Lin Bai Han said, don't bullshit, I don't have any messy healing superpowers. If I really want to know that, brother still won't make a fortune? Will I still be like this Diosy? Just treat a few rich people and become famous. The author used my story to write a book, called Urban Medicine God. The superwoman twisted her body with difficulty, pointed to her red with lace, and said, you, please take off my panties, and put them on your body, so that you can using superhuman powers. Lin Bai. Supergirl asked curiously, why are you dumbfounded? Lin Bai said with a mournful face, can I not be dumbfounded? You told me to take off a girl's panties, and then I had to put the I just took off on myself. The trousers are still lace, how do I have to be to do such a behavior? It's not. Superwoman's face rose with a blushing blush, that's just, the tradition of the Superman family. The first generation ancestor of Superman Clark Kent has infinite power, but his subsequent heirs he doesn't have such a strong ability. In order for Superman to pass on from generation to generation, he sealed his superpower on the underwear pants representing Superman, put on those underwear pants, and then consumed a certain amount of righteous power. Can release superpowers, so, every generation of Superman must wear that pair of underwear, cough. Of course, Yuanzu's Superman fully considered that the future heirs will be divided into men and women, so there are 2 underwear pants left, divided men's and women's. In my generation, because I'm a girl, I wear women's Superman underwear pants, cough. Lin Bai looked up at the sky 45 degrees, and burst into tears. Big brother Yuanzu's Superman, why don't you seal your superpowers in your cloak? How handsome you are! Are you going to get hairy in your pants? Besides, male the style of is simple and simple, similar to sports pants, which is barely acceptable, but with the addition of silk lace women's panties, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com really can't wear it on the body. He said viciously to Supergirl, I don't want to wear women's underwear, you take out the men's underwear for me to use. I didn't bring out the men's style. I'll take it with me next time I go out. Hey, don't delay. Be careful that the devil finds us. Not only will I be unable to escape, but you will also be implicated. Superman said anxiously, for justice, it's just a pair of underwear pants, why not wear one? For justice. Lin Bai regretted saving Supergirl now. He knew that there was such a nasty thing waiting for him, so he might as well stab her to death. But since one thing has already started, he regretted it again to avoid not being enough men. Although he is a poor Diosy with no ambition, he still has the spirit of beginning and ending. Lin Bai stretched out his trembling hand and grabbed the rubber band of Supergirl's panties, and gently pulled it down. The red with silk lace pants were pulled down. For the first time in his life, Lin Bai took off a beautiful woman's underwear panties. Lin Bai felt a lot of pressure, shortness of breath, and a feeling of congestion in her head. Fortunately, Supergirl's underwear wearing white trousers under her pants is not if you peel it off, you can see something that shouldn't be seen, otherwise Lin Bai, a big virgin, will bleed from his nose and die. Breathing heavily, he took the pair of underwear in his hand and looked left and right. Are you sure you're not lying to me? Are these really underwear that can have superpowers when you put them on? The superwoman nodded and said, an upright Superman never lies. During the new book period, I ask book friends to support me with favorites, recommendations, and clicks. Thank you. UU Reading welcomes all book lovers to come and read. The latest, fastest, and most popular serial works are all in UU Reading. UU Reading. Thanks for the reward of 588 for I Love the Night. The road to picking up the morals is extremely difficult. The reward of Streamlitus is 200, and the reward of Wang Bulletin Liuxing, tongue sticking out, 121,409. Kanan, I love the chocolate sauce for the reward of 100. Supergirl has become beautiful. Just after her unreliable underwear pants were taken off, she became a normal, standard beautiful girl, dressed in white clothes and white pants, pure and flawless. Her snow-white pretty face was blushing, and her eyes were like seeing. These beautiful things were all covered up by that eye-catching pair of at first, but now that they are gone, her beauty suddenly burst out of control. Lin Bai has never seen such a beautiful woman in his life. Oh, no, not long ago, he also met the Demon King, who seemed to be the same beauty as Supergirl, but the style of beauty was different. The Superwoman is pure beauty, but the devil is a bewitching flower. Chunlin and Kaihuju, each is good at winning, and it is difficult to distinguish between them. If you must decide the winner, you can only rely on the size of the chest, but it is difficult to make a notarized judgment without touching it with your own hands. Lin Bai couldn't help but stare in a daze, and muttered, "If you don't wear such unreliable underwear, then you are a standard world-class beauty." Supergirl said unappreciatively, "If you don't wear that, you won't be able to use superpowers, and it doesn't conform to Superman's worldview." Lin Bai looked around, trying to find a brick to slap Supergirl on the head angrily, but he couldn't find it, so he gave up and hummed, "You are sure to put on these underwear, I can also use superpowers." Supergirl nodded, "Yes, yes." Lin Bai spread his hands and said, "Okay, if you lie to me and wear this perverted thing and nothing happens, I will really you first and then kill you. I don't care about justice and evil, even if the Jade Emperor comes to save you, I'll beat him down too." With a sigh, he closed his eyes, and suddenly put on his underwear panties. His lower body was originally a pair of dark green trousers, the kind of slacks with many pockets, which are very popular among young people these days. They are trousers full of personality, but they wear a pair of lace silk on the outside. Lace red underwear pants, it has become a personality beyond the limit. I guarantee that 1,000 young people will never wear it like this. Oh, maybe no one in a billion young people will wear it like this. Lin Bai no longer has to worry about bumping into other people's shirts. He looked down at his current look. The picture was so beautiful that Lin Bai dared not look at it. Then, boom! It seemed that something exploded in his head, and some strange characters flashed in his mind. For some reason, he knew that it was the language of Krypton, and he could actually understand them. Those characters were slowly, he formed a menu in his mind. The menu was very long to choose from. He chose a few items at random. Healing superpower, consumes 25 righteous power. Flying super ability, consumes 200 righteous power. Infinite superpower, consumes 50 righteous power. Speed super ability, consumes 50 righteous power. The superpower to save the world, consume the power of justice 999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999. Lin Bai couldn't help wiping off his sweat. He now only has 25 points of righteous power, which means that he can only use his healing superpower once, and all other abilities can only be seen and cannot be used. I couldn't help but spit out, in the end, this superpower that saves the world seems super awesome. It actually consumes so much justice power. I can't count how many digits it has. How can I accumulate so much justice? Strength. Supergirl said, "Oh, that's it. It is a legend from generation to generation in our superhuman family that if we save the world once, we can accumulate so much righteous power. Lin Bai rolled his eyes. In other words, if you save the world once, you can get the righteous power needed to cast the superpower to save the world once. Supergirl nodded. Lin Bai covered his forehead with his hand. The IQ of Yuanzhou Superman and Yuanzhou Demon King seemed to be on the same level. He selected the healing superpower from the bunch of options, and a faint energy shot out from his body and landed on Supergirl. After a while, Supergirl suddenly turned over and sat up. He said with joy, "I'm fine. I've completely recovered. Thank you so much." Lin Bai shrugged. This superpower is still very useful. If it is cured, it will be cured. Even the Superman movies I have seen don't have such awesome powers. It seems that I don't know which generation of Superman has newly researched it. Yes. He looked down at his watch again, thinking that he spent 25 points of righteous power to heal Superman, that righteous power should have been exhausted, but he saw that the watch clearly displayed, Justice Power 50, Unholy Power 50. What's the situation? The power of justice is being used more and more. Lin Bai wondered. Supergirl said, "You cured me and did a good deed, so although you consumed 25 points of justice power, you gained 50 points of justice power." After a while, she said, "What's so strange about this? Right? Apply the power of righteousness to righteous things, and your power will keep growing, and you will go further in the path of righteousness." Lin Bai suddenly realized, this is really a convenient ability. Supergirl smiled and said, "How about it, now that you know that Superman's underwear is amazing, have you started to like it?" After hearing this, Lin Bai suddenly remembered that he was still wearing red underwear with lace and lace like a pervert. He jumped up 3 feet high, and only took 0.01 seconds in midair. In time, he completed the difficult movement of taking off his underwear and turning his body for 3.5 weeks, and violently threw the underwear back into Superman's hands. "Take it away, such a perverted thing, I will do it later. I don't want to see it either." The Superwoman shook her head and said, "You obviously got the inheritance of the Demon King, but you are still doing good deeds. You have the firm willpower to get out of the mud, and you have the determination to dedicate your life for justice. Don't mix with the Demon King anymore." Superman. What? How can a Diao come from me so noble as you say? Lin Bai felt terrified. Why didn't I know these advantages myself? He quickly said, "No. I don't want to wear a pair of women's underwear flying around in the sky. If a reporter takes a photo, will I still live in my life?" Supergirl said earnestly, "Don't worry, there are also men's underwear panties, I'll bring them to you when I get back." Lin Bai sweated, "It's not about men's and women's, okay? Let me focus on it. Are there any normal people who would walk outside wearing underwear?" Supergirl said seriously, "Yes, we Superman have always done this." Lin Bai said helplessly, "I'm not talking about your superhuman family, I'm talking about normal people." Supergirl said, "Am I not normal enough? I'm a normal Superman." Lin Bai stroked his forehead with his hand and burst into tears. "Okay, you are normal, but it's me who is not normal, right?" The Superwoman nodded and said, "Yeah, I think you are too abnormal. You made a declaration to destroy the world, became the heir of the devil, but came to help a Superman. Your righteous power is actually more than the evil power. You is it a normal Demon King?" Lin Bai found himself powerless to refute. According to Supergirl's logic, he was indeed a super abnormal guy, so he had to smile bitterly. "Okay, put on your underwear and fly away, I'm almost there." "I'm crazy, please let me be quiet for a while." The Superwoman nodded and put on the red with lace and silk again. Her purity and beauty were completely shattered the moment she put on the panties, and she once again changed back to just escaping. Image of a patient in a mental hospital. The picture was so beautiful that Lin Bai dared not look at it. "I saw her floating lightly, I'm gone, I can't beat the Demon King now, I have to hone my righteous power, and then find more righteous partners to bring the new generation of Spider-Man and Iron Man. Batman and others are all called, and everyone will challenge the devil together. It is too dangerous for you to stay here, so let's go with me. Lin Bai wiped away his sweat. Do you know what the most important property of Diaozi in modern times is? Humph, it's the house. A Diaozi couple files a lawsuit for divorce, and the first thing to fight is the right to divide the house. A Diaozi, when the old man dies, his Diaozi children are also fighting for the inheritance of the house. As a Diaozi, the ancestral house is here, and I will not go anywhere. Even if the devil grinds me into ashes, I will to brush my own ashes on the walls of the house. Supergirl shrugged, then good luck, thank you for helping me. You have to be careful of the new generation of Iron Man, her best thing is to smash houses. Her body suddenly flew into the sky like a jet plane, then swipe the ground and fly into the distance. The speed is as fast as electric light, and it disappears without a trace for 1,000 miles in an instant. Lin Bai rolled his eyes to watch her go away. And sincerely pray to God, don't let her come back. He patted the dust on his buttocks, and planned to go back to the house to deal with the devil. He casually made up a story about a superwoman who was raped and then killed and thrown into the river. With his eloquence, it shouldn't be a problem. But as soon as I took 2 steps, my eyes fell on my watch, and I cried out in my heart, it's too bad, this thing can measure my righteous and evil powers, and when I return home, the devil asks me to kill Superman. No, make up a story of and then kill, but she may not believe it. Let me show her how much evil power has accumulated. Once I show the watch, it shows that the righteous power is 50, the evil power is 50, I still can you live? The demon queen slapped me out. Great Khan Lin Bai, no, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com has to do bad things to increase the power of evil. Otherwise it is dead. But doing bad things doesn't seem good either. I'm not a good person, but I'm not a bad person either. Lin Bai's brain was running fast. Although he didn't study law, he also knew that when a person's life was threatened, the law allowed him to take normal defense or take emergency actions. Of course, this which article, paragraph, and paragraph of which law the 2 clauses are in? Lin Bai's eyes are smeared. He can only use such things to comfort and cheer himself up, otherwise, Diaozi like him, I don't even have the courage to do bad things. While cheering for himself, Lin Bai walked up the ramp by the river and returned to the street. It was still early in the morning, and the streets were few and quiet. Walking over on the sidewalk, he seemed to have something urgent to do. He was in a hurry, glanced at Lin Bai who was in a daze, then looked away, lowered his head and passed by Lin Bai's side. Lin Bai's heart jumped up and down, to do something bad, to do something bad. I'm sorry, I don't know the flowery shirt, in order to save my life, I had to do something bad to you, please don't blame me, and you punched the back of the head, knocked you to the ground, and exchanged your coma for some evil power. If you are a kind person, I believe you will be very happy to save my life in this way. At the moment when the 2 passed by, Lin Bai spun around abruptly, swung his right fist, and smashed the poor flowered shirt on the back of the head. During the new book period, ask for collection, recommendation tickets, and member clicks. Thanks to Millennium Dream Chang's reward of 10,000, the first helmsman of this book has appeared. Imperius rewarded 7,776, Frost Priest rewarded 1988, The Panda Does Not Burn Incense, The Blade of the Beast of 3 Wells, The Immortal Trader rewarded 1,888 starting coins, Pei King Yu, wanted to leave after urinating, all names were used, Cloudheart Chessling rewarded 588, Jones Wu, Gad, The King of Highbury, and I Just 7 Words rewarded 200, Blood Moon Transit, Konghao Wushang, Aloe.po, Do Not Fall Into the Sky, CSY_Yangzhen, Kanan, Yushuan Grass, Dragon 95972919988, Dead Fish. Erbium, CSY_Yangzhen, Konghao Wushang reward 100 Lin Bai is not a strong man with Kong Wu, nor is he Bruce Lee, who looks slender but actually has solid muscles. His fists are very weak and not fast, but this punch wins suddenly and unexpectedly. That flower shirt is completely. He didn't expect that a passing passerby would suddenly beat him, so naturally he didn't have time to be on guard. The flower shirt punched in the back of the head, and fell to the ground without humming, causing a cloud of dust. "Oh, my hand hurts so much." Lin Bai covered his fist and arched his body, his feet jumping in pain, but then he became nervous again. "It won't kill you, right? Why is the sound of falling to the ground so loud?" Lin Bai's cautious liver jumped up and down, and quickly squatted down to see the man's injuries. Fortunately, the flower shirt just fainted, his nostrils were still breathing, and his heartbeat was very rhythmic, as if he had been beaten. The degree to be carried into the crematorium. As for the sound he made when he fell, it was actually a mobile hard drive in his pocket that fell out and fell on the hard concrete floor. Lin Bai put his palms together at him. "Ami steals the Buddha, good slaughter, good slaughter. The Buddha will forgive me." As for whether he recited the wrong mantra, whether the Buddha would forgive him or blame him, he didn't even think about it. He raised his watch, wanting to see how much evil power he got from his evil action this time, but at a glance, he almost turned into stone, and the column of evil power was clearly marked with 55 and righteous power 55. He made a sneak attack and knocked innocent passers-by out with a punch to the back of the head, and actually increased the power of justice by 5 points. This game can't be played anymore. Doing bad deeds also adds justice. You can't express the grief and anger in your heart without yelling at the sky 3 times. Suddenly I thought, could it be that I defeated a wicked person? Quickly take off the watch, put it on the wrist of the fallen flower shirt, and take a closer look. The righteous power of the flower shirt is 50, and the evil power is 50. Lin Bai now fully understood that it was a bad guy who had been defeated. No wonder the evil forces declined instead of rising. Moreover, defeating a bad guy with an evil value of 50 actually only gained 5 points of righteous power. It seems that even if he defeated a good guy, the increased evil power will not be too much, and it will definitely not achieve the effect of dealing with the female devil. Lin Bai's heart was smashed to death. He retracted his watch, and wandered the streets aimlessly. "A girl is approaching, do you want to knock her down?" "No. In case this girl is a ruthless woman like Pan Jinlian, wouldn't I be working in vain again?" Another old woman came hidden. "It should be a bad thing for me to beat the old woman, right?" "No. In case this old woman is the kind of old woman who touches porcelain, I might punch up and the power of justice will increase again." Another child passed by. "Hitting a child should be considered a heinous, right?" "No. If this kid is the arrogant kid who threw bricks from the 24th floor and smashed passers-by, wouldn't I be overwhelmed by the force of justice?" Punching at Nanshan nursing home and kicking Baha'i kindergarten must be evil, right? However, there are many people on the other side, and if 5 old men rush up at the same time, there is a danger of defeat. Lin Bai felt that he was a little nervous. Suddenly my eyes lit up, and a luxurious hotel appeared in front of me. This hotel is called Chuangjiang Lijing. It is one of the most famous hotels in Chuangqing City. It is located by the beautiful Jiajiang River. It was extremely glamorous, and the people who came in and out were rich businessmen, celebrities, big names. They were all big people who Lin Bai never had the chance to touch a single hair of them in his life. When he was a child, Lin Bai passed by the entrance of this hotel and saw several well-dressed children playing on the marble floor of the hotel lobby. He was wearing dirty clothes and wanted to join in, but was quickly stopped by the vicious security guard, like throwing it out like an abandoned cat. This incident left a huge shadow on Lin Bai's young mind, which made him clearly understand the position of a poor child like him in society, and in a long time. For a period of time, I didn't dare to go to a place that looked magnificent, and even when I was 23, I never set foot in any place where Bai Fumei and Gao Fueshui gathered. I'm going to burn down this hotel. This evil thought rose from the bottom of his heart and flowed all over his body like venom. In fact, this thought was not the first time, it wasn't long in his life. In his 23 years of career, he has thought about this question countless times. The evil capitalist who opened a hotel wants to make him suffer some hardships in return for the psychological shadow that he was engraved when he was young. But as he got older, I gradually realized that capitalists are not necessarily evil, and they are not necessarily good. In fact, capitalists are not fundamentally different from Lin Bai in terms of goodness or evil. Burning down such a big building will definitely gain a lot of evil power, and the Demon Queen will no longer doubt me. Lin Bai used this reason to encourage himself, I am here to save my own life, not to take revenge for the things I did when I was a child. God, Buddha, Tais Hang La Jun, and even God will forgive me. He has been thinking about burning it for many years, and although he has never implemented it, it has made him more familiar with the security blind spot of this hotel than anyone, and he knows exactly where there are no surveillance cameras and security guards. Went around the back of the hotel, took off his clothes, went through a stinky ditch naked, opened a side door for cleaners, easily sneaked into the hotel, and then touched the unoccupied room, and lit it once with trembling hands. A lighter, igniting everything that can be ignited in the house. Then he calmly returned to the original road, put on his clothes again, nothing seemed to have happened, and then the fire alarm sounded in the hotel, and the sound of the alarm pierced the sky. The nearby streets were noisy, and countless people ran out to watch. The flames rose, thick smoke spread out, and the automatic fire extinguishing device in the hotel began to spray water. The rich and well-dressed people cried, screamed, and coughed, covered their faces and rushed out of the hotel. After all, it is a top-level hotel, the firefighting facilities are very perfect. This small fire was quickly brought under control, the open flame disappeared, and the smoke dissipated, but the tenants inside were quite frightened. Lin Bai's eyes were sharp, and when he saw a bright woman escaped from the hotel, it was Zhang Zizi, a big star who was often seen on TV. She was Lin Bai's favorite female star. The goddess in poor Diosi's heart. At this time, the goddess's face was a bit ugly, because she was smoked, and her pure and beautiful face was as black as a small cat. There was also a group of waiters running out of the side door of the hotel. One of them was holding an old woman in a cleaner's uniform, which was somewhat similar to Lin Bai's dead grandmother. Her wrinkled face was also full of panic, which made Lin Bai's heart cannot help but tremble. Seeing that the hotel was burnt down and the shadows of childhood dissipated, Lin Bai should have been very happy. But he didn't feel the slightest joy in his heart. This fire involved his favorite movie star, the innocent old cleaning lady, and maybe someone else was cheated. They didn't offend Lin Bai, it wasn't his intention to harm them. How does this make him happy? It turns out that doing bad things is so sad. Silently recited a few words of goodness and goodness, sins and sins, no thoughts of Shaofo, hallelujah, and then looked down at his watch. Evil power 214, righteous power 214. Lin Bai gave a wry smile, very good, he finally achieved the goal he wanted, and he can go back and deal with the Demon King. By the way, he has to buy her breakfast. He took out 13 yuan and 50 cents from his pocket and put it on the roadside stall. I bought a $1 fritter for myself. Then I bought a bottle of milk for 4 yuan and a cake for 8 yuan and 50 cents, which was for the witch. As for why one favors one over another, of course, it is because of the threat to life, otherwise the fried dough sticks should belong to the witch, and the milk and cake should belong to them. With an unhappy mood, carrying the breakfast for the two of them, he staggered back home. He came to the second floor and gently pushed open the door of the room temporarily occupied by the Demon King. The originally empty room was now full of furniture. I don't know what magic the Demon King used to conjure it up. Moreover, these furniture are extremely luxurious, and they are high-end items that Lin Bai has never seen in his life. In the middle of the room, on a European palace-style princess bed worth at least a few 100,000 yuan, the Demon King was sleeping soundly, with a black tight leather skirt thrown on the ground beside the bed. This detail reminded Lin Bai that she is now a light girl. Body. She was only covered with a thin quilt, and her thighs and arms were stretched out of the quilt. The lines of her body showed through the thin quilt, making Lin Bai's throat a little dry. If this guy wasn't an evil devil, but just an ordinary weak woman, Lin Bai could hardly guarantee that he would not jump on her and use violence to make her look like 18. Put the milk and cake lightly on the bedside table, then crept out of the room. Come back. The Demon King suddenly spoke up, with a bit of laziness in her voice. Are you being too well behaved? This king is sleeping on the bed in front of you, so you don't want to do anything. You should be more courageous, don't care if it's the devil, don't care if it's your master, and don't think about how powerful this king is. You must have bad thoughts in your heart and put them into action. Only then can you become a master. Super evil villain. If you follow the rules like now, how will you take over the class of this king in the future? How will you be the devil? Cut. If you were not the great demon king of terror, but a weak girl, I might be molesting you right now, and I would never be soft-hearted when you cry hoarsely. Lin Babian opened his mouth and said, I just raped and then killed the superwoman, first killed and then raped, oh my. I'm so tired, how can I still have the strength to sneak up on you? Men are refractory. The Demon King laughed and sat up hugging the quilt, and the quilt slid down, revealing her beautiful shoulders, half of her snow-white chest, fascinated by her soul, and almost made Lin Bai unable to hold it in her hands. Hand out, this king sees. See how much evil power you earn. Lin Bai quickly stretched out his hand and showed the watch on his wrist to the Demon King. The Evil Force 214 on the LCD screen was extremely eye-catching. Lin Bai didn't know if such a value was enough. The Demon King smiled and said, this superwoman seems to be a super rookie. She was raped and then killed and then raped. Yuyuganshu www.yuyuganshu.com actually only has 214 points of evil power. If it was replaced by knocking down one, a powerful Superman can definitely increase by 5 or 6,000. Lin Baigan smiled and said, that's right, this superwoman is too bad. She lacks the righteous power and the evil power that I have accumulated. It's really bad luck. The Demon King waved her hand and said, okay, this king is going to continue sleeping, you go out, here is the Demon King's code, you can take it and explore it yourself. If there is anything you don't understand, come back when this king has enough sleep. I'll explain it to you in detail. She waved her hand, and a black magic book fell into Lin Bai's hands. Lin Bai breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had been fooled, and his life was saved, but this demon queen has been occupying the room and will not know how much danger will be in the future, alas. I can only hope that Supergirl will find help as soon as possible to save the kindness. The common people are in dire straits, that's the job of Superman, isn't it? But Superman, who likes to tear down houses, had better not come. When I walked to the door, I suddenly heard the Demon King again, this is the luxurious breakfast you prepared for this king. It's too shabby. Remember, don't send such junk food from now on, and give it to this king. For something better, let's start with today's Chinese food, at least European-style court-level cuisine. I will hold your head. Now that I am penniless, I can't even buy a piece of fried dough sticks. Do you still want to eat European-style court cuisine? I'll sell you to Allison Beauty and Hair across the street to see if the exchange is enough for a meal. Lin Bai cursed inwardly for a while, but he said with a smile, okay, I will try my best to prepare. During the new book period, ask book friends to collect, click from members, and recommend a lot. UU Reading welcomes all book lovers to come and read. The latest, fastest, and most popular serial works are all in UU Reading. UU Reading. Thank you for not being a prisoner. 31 changes, 588 reward, Swayo Lone Wolf, 300 reward, Wang Buletin Liuxing, Tongue Sticking Out, Purple Thunder Emperor, Tears Are Sweet, I Love the Night, Crumbly sleeping, 100 reward holding the black cover and the heavy Demon King's Codex. Lin Bai slowly went downstairs and sat in his Bai computer repair shop, where various computer parts, monitors, motherboards, mice, and keyboards were piled up. Throwing it all over the place, of course, most of them are broken. Even if you sell them to recycle old computers, people don't want them. Opened the Demon King's Codex. The first page, was completely incomprehensible. The second page, hey, I still don't understand it at all. The third page, wow, still completely incomprehensible. The Demon King's code is written in a very strange language, not Chinese, not English, not even French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean. It is a strange language that Lin Bai has never seen before. It is estimated that it is a demon language. Lin Bai turned another 2 pages, and the back was full of this kind of incomprehensible demon language. Now he was depressed. The Demon King actually gave him such a book to learn it by himself, and he couldn't even understand the words in it. Shenyu, your sister? He threw the Demon King's code to the side, only to see a folded piece of paper falling out of the tome, slowly unfolding it, with some demon language written on it, and then writing a few lines of notes in crooked Chinese. Lin Bai felt that these few demon words seemed similar to the past. After careful comparison, he found that it was a magic incantation written on the first few pages of the Demon King's code. It was immediately understood that this was an annotation written by a certain generation of Demon Kings when they were studying this Demon Lord's Codex. Maybe this thing can be useful. Look carefully at the note below. I bought a watch last year. Is this also called a note? It's a bit dizzy to see a word without a brain. Suddenly, a flash of light flashed in his mind, and he remembered the way he learned English in junior high school. At that time, his grades were not good, and the pronunciation of many English words was unclear, so he marked the pronunciation with Chinese characters, such as apple. He commented next to it, love po. For another example, thank you, _you, just annotate 3 medicines next to it. Now, this piece of paper in Lin Bai's hand must be the same stupid way he used to memorize spells when a Demon King with poor grades was learning the demon language. This Demon King with poor grades is probably the one sleeping upstairs. At first glance, she knows that she is a stupid woman with an IQ of 20. Lin Bai complained maliciously for a while, and finally summed up the answer. The reading of the incantation above is I bought a watch last year. Lin Bai felt that he was a genius. He could even think of such a difficult thing. Of course, he would never admit that this is a way of memorizing words used by stupid people, and only stupid people can understand it. After clearing his throat and coughing dryly, he held the Demon King's Codex in his left hand and stretched his right hand forward in a posture of casting magic, then shook his head and recited, I bought a watch last year. Well, no response. Maybe the tone needs to be adjusted, and the foreign language must be read out, so I changed a few syllables and adjusted it several times. Blind Meng actually got it right, and as the spell came out, a black gas spewed out of his fingers. Wow, what kind of magic? Lin Bai was taken aback. He didn't expect that he could really release magic, so he was unprepared, and he didn't know what the magic was for. What if it was some kind of messy burning magic? The house burns down, so what? Hurry up and use the fastest speed to wave the black air from your fingers to the ground. There happened to be a broken keyboard on the ground that was smashed in half, and the black air instantly engulfed the keyboard. He blindfolded himself and didn't dare to look at it, but after 2 seconds, he couldn't help but remove his blindfolded hand. The black air had dissipated, revealing an intact keyboard. Obviously it was a block. The broken keyboard that was smashed in half was miraculously repaired. Lin Bai was overjoyed. This is the regeneration of darkness. It's the magic that the Demon Lord used to fix my house. He quickly looked down at his watch, but saw that the number on the watch had changed. It used to be Evil Force 214 and Righteous Force 214, but now it has become Evil Force 212 and Righteous Force 212. He is not a fool, he understood it in just a moment. He consumed 2 evil powers, used Dark Regeneration once, and repaired a keyboard. Lin Bai couldn't help but be overjoyed. I'm so awesome now, I'm going to make a fortune, I'm going to become the most awesome computer repairman in the world in the future, ha 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 ha. Poor Diozzi repairman, even if he has such an awesomeness, the first thing that comes to mind is to repair the computer, but I never thought of repairing rockets or satellites. Repairing those things is the job of the rich and handsome. Lin Bai stretched out his finger and pointed at a 27-inch monitor on the ground. No, to be precise, it was the corpse of a 27-inch monitor, because this monitor was completely scrapped, and even scrap iron collectors didn't want it. I bought a watch last year. A jet of black air erupted, and the display instantly returned to spring. Lin Bai excitedly picked up the repaired monitor, connected it to the computer, and tested it. The result was flawless, and it could be used normally. Ow! Lin Baiwen shouted, I'm going to make a fortune. With a fast speed, he wrote a piece of paper, transfer a second-hand 90% new 27-inch large screen monitor for an ultra-low price of 1,500 yuan. Paste the piece of paper on the monitor and put it in the most conspicuous place at the door. Now Lao Tzu hasn't made a fortune yet? Just pick up some electronic waste, repair it and sell it, you can make a lot of money, ha 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 ha. He was very proud, raised his wrist and looked at his watch, Evil Power 192, Justice Power 192, it seems that repairing a display requires 20 Evil Power points, which is much more than repairing a keyboard. Now think about it, how much evil power does it take to fix your house? The Demon King seems to be a very bad guy. This was as early as Lin Bai's expectation, but he didn't need to go into it. He swayed it casually, pointing to the jumbled waste parts thrown in the store. Black gas spewed out of his hand one after another, and another monitor was blocked. It's fixed, another hard drive is fixed, another motherboard is fixed. Lin Bai's storefront was instantly filled with a dazzling array of second-hand goods. If they could sell them all, they would earn at least 6,770 yuan. Of course, his evil power was also exhausted very fast. In a blink of an eye, there were only 40 left, but this was not the point. He thought triumphantly, I'm afraid of a fart, just use up the evil power and set off a fire. But as soon as my thoughts turned to here, I was shocked, no. Such thinking is wrong. I set the fire earlier just to deal with the Demon Queen and to save my life, so I had to compromise with evil and do a little bad. If you set fire to your own interests or to make money, the nature will be completely different. That is the beginning of the fall. That is the temptation of darkness. The so-called sell the soul to the devil probably means this. Lin Bai was startled, and hurriedly threw the Demon King's code in his hand far away. However, the treasure book had been thrown far away, but it still kept reappearing in Lin Bai's mind, tempting him to walk towards the treasure book step by step. He could hardly control his hand, wanting to pick up the tome and hug it in your arms. Wealth and silk move people's hearts, and the evil that can provide wealth has an incomparably powerful attraction. At this moment, a loud male voice suddenly sounded at the door of the store. Is the store owner there? Fuck, my mobile hard drive is broken, can you repair the hard drive here and restore the data in it? Lin Bai's mind was at war between heaven and man, and his desire and reason were intertwined. This shout made him wake up and recover from his confusion. There was a business coming to the door. I was suddenly overjoyed. The temptation of the Demon King's code was cut off by him in an instant. With a big spin, he ran to the door like a fly, and said with a smile, yes, we can repair anything here. Having said that, Lin Bai has already seen the visitor. It is not a single customer, but 2 men standing at the door of the store together. Standing in the front, this one is talking. It is a middle-aged man in a floral suit with a blushing face. You can tell he has a loud voice. And standing behind this person is a young man in a floral shirt. Lin Bai recognized it just by looking at it. This floral shirt was the guy who was hit in the back of the head with a punch not long ago and collapsed to the ground. How did this man come to the door? Could it be, are you coming to settle accounts with me? Lin Bai was startled. Fortunately, Lin Bai's worries were unnecessary. The floral shirt didn't recognize Lin Bai. He was stroking the back of his head. It seemed that the wound on his head was not yet healed. He stood with an ugly face and said nothing to Lin Bai. Lin Bai breathed a sigh of relief. This floral shirt has 50 evil power points, but he is not a good person. If he doesn't trouble me, then thank God. The man in front reached out and handed over a mobile hard drive. Lin Bai took it in his hand and looked at it. The Shaanxing brand mobile hard drive was marked with 500G, which was a very common item. The market price was about 4 or 500 yuan. It doesn't seem to have any problems from the outside. Out of professional habit, he asked, "What's wrong with this hard drive?" The flower suit in front turned around. Yu was reading www.yuuganshu.com, kicked the flower shirt and scolded, "Come on." The flowered shirt covered the back of his head and came up, cursing, "I was walking on the street just now, and was suddenly attacked by a neuropathy who passed by, and he fell heavily, but he was fine, but he put the mobile hard disk in his pocket. After I fell, I went back and connected the computer, the data in it couldn't be read, and the hard drive would make a rattling sound when it was powered on. Fuck, he's a madman, don't hit me in the hands, or I'll be wrong, you can't take his skin off. I'm a real underworld, that idiot dares to beat me." Hua Ziui said with a slight anger, "It must be our hostile organization who hit you with a sap, you stupid, you will make a bright spot in the future. It doesn't matter if you have an accident yourself, it will only kill if the organization's major event is broken. If this hard drive can't be repaired, our group of people has no good fruit to eat." Hua Xie hurriedly smiled and said, "Brother Hong taught me a lesson." Lin Bai was taken aback and said in his heart, "The real underworld, my mother, fortunately he didn't recognize me, otherwise I'd be finished. This hard drive is not the one that broke when I knocked him out. Is it? Then I thought, this hard drive is broken, and it will make a rattling sound when it is powered on, indicating that the mechanical structure inside has been displaced due to the vibration. I can't say how bad it is, but one thing is certain, it is this: if the hard disk is not saved, unless it is returned to the factory for repairs, ordinary computer maintenance personnel can't do anything about it. It is absolutely impossible for something as high precision as a hard disk to be repaired by disassembling it with a screwdriver. During the new book period, ask book friends to collect, click, and recommend. During the new book period, it is free. Please come to the starting point to see the genuine version. Thanks to Imprith for the reward of 10,300, becoming the second helmsman of this book, the top student at home stud in the university. The reward is 4,364, the Decat and Angkau_Java are worn outside the pants, and the reward is 588. My dream is to be a skinny person. Junyi Ziaran, Jones, Book Friend 14110192023673, Wangi reward 100. Of course, yesterday's Lin Bai couldn't repair it, but today's Lin Bai can. He has the evil dark regeneration magic. Even if this hard drive becomes scum, he can repair it. Lin Bai pretended to check the hard drive, connected it to his computer, looked at it for a while, and then said to the two of them, "This hard drive is badly damaged, but it's not impossible to repair, as long as I pay more attention, and then just replace a few important parts and it can be repaired. But these spare parts are imported from Germany, and the price is very high. At least they are worth 5. He was full of nonsense. It was all a trick of the repairman to cheat money. "Ben, I wanted to quote 500 yuan, but I was a little embarrassed to be so black when I said it. This hard drive was broken because of his random beating." Before he could finish speaking, the flower suit called Brother Hong reached into his arms, took out his wallet, and pulled out a stack of banknotes. He didn't count how many there were. Judging from the thickness, it was about $1,000 or $2,000. On the table in front of Lin Bai, is this enough? Remember, the most important thing is not the hard drive itself, but the data inside. As long as the data can be restored to me, any German parts, American parts, and alien parts will be given to me. I use money. What a big pile of money! 1 or 2,000 oceans. The underworld is the underworld, there are domineering, evil spirits, and stupidity, and this 1 or 2,000 oceans will come over without blinking an eye. To be honest, Lin Bai has repaired a lot of computers in his life, but he has never made so much money. He usually installs an operating system, helps with antivirus, and solves small problems such as poor contact. Earn 10 yuan and 20 yuan, and sometimes it's less than 100 yuan. This time is the biggest reward he has faced in his short 2-3 year life. How about being classified as Diozi? If Gao Shui saw $1 or $2,000 thrown on the ground, he would be too lazy to bend over to pick it up. But Lin Bai became excited as if he had been beaten with blood. Okay, just hand this hard drive to me, and I'll. After a pause, I thought to myself, to repair this hard drive, we need to use dark regeneration, magic spells to add black energy, such a mysterious thing, how can it be in front of do it in the face of others? And the most taboo thing about repairing things is too fast. If you reach out and fix things, customers often refuse to pay high prices. If you are very hard and laborious, and you finally get it repaired, you can get more maintenance fees from customers. Lin Baizheng said, the damage to this hard drive is very serious, it will take a long time to fix it, 2 hours. Oh, come back in 3 hours, I promise to use the most advanced technology to repair this hard drive, give it to you if it is done properly, the data inside will not be less than a single byte. The two triads looked at each other, and Brother Hong said, the contents of this hard drive are too important, we can't let it out of sight, you have to repair it in front of us. Lin Bai's face cramped, meow, in front of you? I yelled I bought a watch last year, and then a black gas shot out of my fingertips. How about repairing a vegetable basket? What exactly is the information here? Could it be the passionate video of the two of you guys doing the basics? I don't like watching this. Just give up. But, the expensive remuneration of 1 or 2,000 oceans does not mean giving up if you give up. Lin Bai's head turned and he thought, no, this money has to be earned. Well, just do it, I just do it in front of you, I don't believe you don't go to the toilet, don't eat lunch. As long as you focus on it for 2 or 3 minutes, it's enough for Lao Tzu to recite a mantra to fix it. He quickly opened the drawer and took out a large number of tools. Okay, it's time to perform the real technique. There was a row of screwdrivers on the table. The big ones were as thick as a rolling pin, and the thin ones were only as thin as iron wire. When these guys took them out, Lin Bai looked a bit professional. Brother Hong and the floral shirt looked at each other. Hua shirt whispered, I thought this product was not good just now. The things in the hard disk are hideous and can't be repaired in a big place, so I can only find this kind of thing to repair, otherwise the rumors will leak, we have to give a note, don't keep your eyes on him. Now looking at his posture, maybe he is a computer expert, it seems that he has found the right person. Brother Hong said in a low voice, I hope so, if the data inside can't be obtained, I will be killed by you, and the boss will have to cut us into pieces. The two stopped talking and stared at Lin Bai's skillful hands seriously. Where does Lin Bai come from? No matter how clever he is, he wouldn't even think about dismantling and repairing such a precise instrument as a hard disk. Going down, of course, what exactly is this screw used for, and what the consequences will be after unscrewing it, I don't care at all. Brother Hong and Hwasie glanced at each other again, and whispered, my dear, I'll just hit the knife. How can he judge the problem so quickly? How does he know that the problem lies in this area? I saw Lin Bai finished the screw, and then screwed another screw. At the same time, he took out a soldering iron from the drawer next to him and plugged it in with a snap. The whole action was smooth, without any hesitation. He picked up the soldering iron in his left hand and screwed the screw in his right hand, without interfering with each other, and his eyelids didn't even jump. This is at least an old master who has been repairing computers for 10 years. Brother Hong and Hwasia admired even more, and their mood became lighter. According to this posture, the hard disk can be repaired properly, and the task will not be messed up. Children can also be insured. After Lin Bai unscrewed a few screws, he decisively removed a circuit board from the hard drive. He didn't take a close look at it. He picked up the electric soldering iron and soldered it all at once. Brother Hong and Hwasia's hearts tightened. Lin Bai didn't care at all and said, "Why are you so nervous?" Brother Hong and Hwasia hurriedly said, "Master Xiao Bai, please do it lightly, don't make it worse than worse." Lin Bai sneered, "Am I a computer repairer or are you guys? I still don't know where to be lighter and where to be heavier." How could Brother Hong dare to argue with him at this time, so he quickly apologized and smiled, "Master is right." Lin Bai snorted and continued to put on the soldering iron. He was actually soldering randomly now. Once he flipped the soldering, the hard drive was completely scrapped. Don't be afraid today, with dark regeneration in hand, even if the hard disk is turned into a pile of waste, it can be recovered in the end, just wait for the opportunity. It was just this nonsense for a while, and more than an hour passed in a blink of an eye. Lin Bai was still welding everywhere, but the two gangsters couldn't sit still. You must know that the low-level gangsters in the gangland are mostly uneducated and rough. This kind of person usually can't be quiet. Although the hard disk is very important, but watching Lin Baijiao all the time, and he can't see a name, how can he bear it? Flower Shirt stood up and said, "Brother Hong, I'm going to take a dip in the shit, here you go first." Brother Hong snorted, "Lazy cows and horses pee a lot, go and come back quickly." The flowered shirt whistled and walked out. There was a public toilet at the end of the long street. Halfway through the road, he stood in front of Old Man Key cigarette stand again. Grabbing a newspaper in his hand and flipping through it while walking, Diao Erlang got into the public toilet locally. Brother Hong shook his head, turned his head and continued to stare at Lin Bai. Lin Bai scolded inwardly, "I finally walked away from one, and the other one is still staring so hard, you have to give my brother a chance?" At this moment, there was a sudden whoosh sound from across the street. It was the sound of the rolling shutter door being opened. It turned out that the Jia beauty salon opposite finally opened the door. A woman wearing a low-cut hanging skirt came from inside. When she stuck her head out, the woman's face was heavily make-up, and it seemed she could smell the perfume on her body across the street, but she was not ugly in this way, she looked very coquettish. Anyone who is familiar with this industry knows that the young ladies wear heavy makeup to cover up their true colors. No one can recognize them after removing the makeup. If you change careers in the future, you don't have to be afraid of being stabbed in the spine. It is a self-protection method for a special industry. Of course, Lin Bai knew this woman. She was the owner of the shop, Jia. Of course, Jia was her stage name. Every young lady who came out these days had to have a stage name, such as Jia, Hong Hong, Ting Ting, Rura. In this industry inside, if you use your real name to do business, you are guaranteed to have your head caught by the door panel. Lin Bai hurriedly greeted across the street, "Yo, Jia, the door is open? You open so late every day, do you still want to do business?" Jia laughed, "Xiao Bai, you are a dead virgin, there's a ghost in my sister's business opening early in the morning? It's not even noon, it's already early, and the prime time is after dinner. You can only understand the mystery of my sister's business when you break it one day. It's okay to say I'm a virgin, don't put a dead word in front of it." Lin Bai was scolded by her for a while, but he was not angry. In fact, he was a neighbor and did business across the street. He and Jia had a good relationship. He often said something and said with a smile, "Today, when my store opened, a big customer came. I need to repair a hard drive. This is the number of hands." He reached out and grabbed the stack of banknotes on the table and shook it twice. Jia's eyes lit up, and her eyes fell on Brother Hong. She ran across the street with a smile and put her hand on Brother Hong's shoulder. The blood-red nails scratched gently on Brother Hong's neck on purpose. "This big brother, do you want to find a little girl to play with? There are all types in my shop. I'm sure you have a good time. 2 or 3 will do." After saying this, he suddenly came to Lin Bai said in a very low voice, "This is the villain of the Jinzhou gang, you are an innocent person, don't get involved in their affairs, quickly finish repairing his things and go out, my sister will help you first. Take him away for a while." Lin Bai nodded. Jia laughed loudly, pretending to be lying to Lin Bai, and licked her tongue on his ear, then turned around to face Brother Hong again. Her whole body began to smell like a fox. When Brother Hong trembled, he looked away from Lin Bai, and his attention quickly turned to Jia. "You reading www.yuuganchu.com just glanced at it, and this guy was a little dazzled. I have to say, Jia is very beautiful and has a plump figure. Although the 4 words of pure and beautiful have nothing to do with her, but the 4 words of seductive and charming it's more appropriate. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the ability to open my own store." Brother Hong said with a crooked mouth, "Hey! I don't want to play with little girls, you come to accompany me, and I'll go to your store." Jia smiled and said, "Brother, I'm the most expensive one in the store." Brother Hong took out his wallet from his pocket and patted it on the table. "Money, I have it." Jia glanced at her wallet from the corner of her eyes, but she actually gave Lin Bai a wink. She pulled Brother Hong's arm and said, "Then what are you waiting for, let's go play." Brother Hong's soul flew away, and he couldn't hold back anymore. He said to Lin Bai, "Get me the hard drive. I'll come over after playing for a while. Once it's done, the money won't lose you a cent. Remember it. The data in the hard drive can't be read, 1 glance will chop your hand, and 2 will chop your head to feed the dog." Lin Bai was secretly angry. The underworld is amazing, isn't it? Thread brother? Believe it or not, brother whipped a soldering iron to your nose? I don't believe it, of course I don't believe it. Lin Bai doesn't believe it himself, with a smile on his face, "Don't worry, I will definitely satisfy the customer's request." I saw Brother Hong go across the street with Jia in his arms. The 2 of them had just walked into the Jia Beauty and Hair Salon and closed the door. Lin Bai quickly said, "I bought a watch last year," and stretched out his hand. A black gas shot on the mobile hard disk. During the new book period, please collect, click, and recommend tickets. Thanks to Wongi, Mia Rabbit, Kanan, Mizuo KD for the reward of 100 black air filled the air, wrapping the hard drive that Lin Bai had abused with a soldering iron. In the blink of an eye, it dissipated, and the hard drive, which had been branded horribly, was instantly rejuvenated and returned to its original appearance. Lin Bai knew that there was not much time. Brother Hong estimated that he would come back from Jia soon. Of course, it depends on his ability. Meng Men, it might be a little longer, but after all, there are very few men like this. Most men walk into Jia's store and come out within 10 minutes. This also includes and time to get dressed is in there. When the business of the computer repair shop was sluggish, he once moved a rattan chair and sat at the door to watch the business situation across the street. Of the 100 men, about 70 could not last for 10 minutes, and 20 could. It lasted until 15 minutes, only 9 could last until 20 minutes, and only 1 could last for about half an hour. This reflects Jia's strong business ability from the side. This fox spirit is simply an old monster that spirits. Once she gets into bed, she is extremely powerful. The men are tidied up with 3 tricks and 2 styles, and they can fight against her 3 times. The man who fights with Lily has not yet appeared. Most of the men have failed miserably due to her incomparable skills. Of course, Jia is Lin Bai's friend, so she might deliberately slow down in order to help him and hold off that brother Hong for a while, but it won't be too long. We'll only use simple and direct moves to cut the opponent off the horse. Lin Bai didn't dare to delay even a second. If brother Hong was killed by Jia, it would probably be over in 3 minutes, including the time to undress and put on. With a fast speed, I connected the mobile hard disk to my computer, and then clicked on my computer to access mobile hard disk. There are several huge video files, each of which is dozens of G in size. To see or not to see? Brother Hong's warning voice was still lingering in his ears. I chop off your hand at a glance, chop off your head with 2 eyes and feed it to the dog. Threatening Lao Tzu prefers to watch. The mouse pointer moved to the first video, and was about to double-click. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded at the door of the store, Xiao Bai. Lin Bai was taken aback. The word guilty of guilty conscience is really too appropriate. I have your courier. A courier appeared at the door of the store. Lin Bai breathed a sigh of relief and scolded angrily, I'm busy, any express delivery at this critical time will simply waste precious time. Speaking of which, I haven't bought anything these days, where can I get the express delivery? The courier also laughed and scolded, it doesn't matter where you got the courier, hurry up and sign it, I have to deliver the next one. Lin Bai didn't dare to delay, so he rushed to the door in a single step, grabbed the package and signed it. The courier stretched out his hand to block him and said, first unpack and inspect the goods before signing. Last time you bought a broken tablet, you signed without unpacking and inspecting the goods. Later, I accidentally broke the screen and insisted that we express our courier company. Rough shipping, broken right out of the box. This matter was not authentic. Lin Bai felt a little guilty, I'm so busy right now, how can I have time to inspect the goods? The courier said, don't talk shit, I won't give you the goods today without inspection. Lin Bai was helpless, so he had to open the package at a very fast speed. As soon as he opened it, the courier burst out laughing. It turned out that there was a pair of red men's underwear in the package. The courier smiled, Xiao Bai, you actually bought this thing online? Yo, it's still red underwear pants, you are 23 years old this year, isn't it next year's birth year? Put on red underwear pants 1 year in advance. Kongzi, ha 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 ha. Lin Bai was furious, I'm rubbing it, what kind of neuropathy is full of food, and sent a red underwear pants to Lao Zi. As soon as he finished scolding, he saw that there was still a piece of paper in the package. He picked it up and looked at it. It was written in silk show font, according to the agreement, I sent you the men's Superman underwear panties, express in the same city, 1 hour speed, I hope to use it to implement justice and defeat the devil. Signed, the new generation of Supergirl. Lin Bai Khan, who made an agreement with you. Don't be so selfish. The courier also came over to see what was written on the paper. Lin Bai quickly crumpled the piece of paper into a ball, then threw it into his mouth, chewed it like a chewing gum, and hummed, what are you looking at? Take the express slip. Come on, I'll sign it quickly, I still have business to do. 3 times, 5 divisions, 2 signed the express order, and drove the courier away. As for the Superman underwear, Lin Bai tucked it into his trousers pocket. He didn't have time to play with a pair of underwear, and he now has the power of justice. I couldn't afford it if I wanted to play, so I rushed back to the front of the computer and continued the steps just now to check the video files in the mobile hard disk. A video playback window opened soon, Lin Bai's eyes widened, and when he saw it, he spit out the chewed paper ball and stuck to the monitor. What kind of valuable information is this? I took a peek at the risk of beheading, and the result turned out to be an indoor love action blockbuster. There is a man and a woman rolling on the bed. The woman's figure is good, but her face is long. The hair is covered, and the appearance cannot be seen clearly, and the man's face is buried in the woman's chest, and it cannot be seen clearly. The two of them are doing that thing in a very ecstatic posture, having sex. It's too comfortable. Fuck, how much I want to download this kind of thing on the internet, it's worth it. Lin Bai scolded, and wiped a nosebleed at the same time. There is no way, this kind of thing is still very stimulating to virgins. Big nosebleeds are normal. Just as she was about to turn off the video to wash her face, the woman in the film shook her head, her long hair flung away, revealing a beautiful face that was exquisite. Lin Bai only glanced at it, and his whole body froze. The mouse in his hand slipped down with a click. This is a pure girl in the film and television industry. Zhang Zhizi. That's right, the woman in the video is a popular movie star, Zhang Zhizi, who made her debut in the image of a pure and beautiful girl, and who is very popular. She is Lin Bai's favorite female star, an inviolable girl in the film and television industry, and countless poor DOC's dream love people. This jade-like goddess is doing that thing with a man in an extremely lewd slutty posture. Fuck, what the is this? Who the is this man? Lin Bai shook the monitor with both hands, and at this moment, the man's face finally appeared in front of the camera. Lin Bai fixed his eyes at a glance. I recognized it as the popular male star Chen Xi. He is not only an idol star, he is tall and handsome, he is also a rich second generation, and he has too much money to use up. In fact, it is not a problem for him to be a star or not. The family business makes enough money for him to spend several lifetimes. Is this the appearance of a man and a woman? Golden boy and girl? Well done, right? That's right. The man of the goddess, of course, is tall, rich and handsome, isn't it obvious? In fact, a poor Diozi like Lin Bai is just one of the tens of thousands of fans of the pure jade girl. He has no qualifications to watch her sour here. Which man the jade girl is willing to do with, that is all her freedom. Maybe all the other men in the world are dead, and the jade girl will see him, Lin Bai, otherwise, the world of the two will never have a meeting point. Lin Bai stared at the video. The entangled bodies of men and women in the film could no longer attract him. His mind gradually began to become clear, and he soon realized that this was a secretly filmed video. I don't know that I'm being photographed, and I kiss and find love indifferently, posing over and over in 18 ways, enjoying each other's warmth to the fullest, but I don't know that there is a cold electronic eye next to them, making everything clear about them. Recorded extremely. It's true that Lin Bai is Diozi, but it's not stupid force. The underworld took a candid photo of Chen Xi and Zhang Zhizi, and this should have been taken in the Shuangjiang Lijing Hotel last night, and Lin Bai put it there this morning. Turn on the fire, don't you see Zhang Zhizi running out of it? After the underworld people secretly filmed these videos, they stored them in the mobile hard disk and left the scene. Presumably they planned to bring them back to the organization and hand them over to the leader. Money to come. But by accident, Yuyuganshu www.yuyuganshu.com took this hard-packed flower shirt and left the Shuangjiang Liang Hotel not long after walking, when he ran into Lin Bai, who was about to do something bad. He was punched on the back of the head by Lin Bai, and fell to the ground. The hard drive was also broken, and of course the video inside could not be read. The whole thing was instantly linked, and Lin Bai was furious. Damn, underworld, how dare you use Zhang Zhizi's handle to premeditately blackmail her? You are killing. Thinking of this, his eyes couldn't help but swipe across the monitor. The video was still playing. The picture of the pure and beautiful girl and the man was just too beautiful. Lin Bai's nosebleed began to drip down again. You should call the police first. Lin Bai put his hand on the phone, but he immediately threw it away again. Once the call was made, the police would investigate the matter, and the video might end up in the hands of the police and reporters. And then, Zhang Zhizi's image of a pure and beautiful girl is likely to be exposed. That means that Zhang Hezi's acting career is likely to end here. No, you can't do that. Then smash this hard drive. Lin Bai reached out and grabbed a hammer. But a second later, he put the hammer down again. Before smashing it, it seems that I should make a backup first, so I can use it in the dead of night. What are you doing? A cold question suddenly came from the side. Lin Bai was taken aback and turned his head quickly. He didn't know when, the flowered shirt that went to the toilet had returned, and was standing behind Lin Bai, looking at him with fierce eyes. During the period of the new book, I ask book friends to collect more, click more, and recommend more. Thank you Daobi for making it. Do you give me a reward of 10,000 and become the third helmsman in this book? The Meow Rabbit will give you 588, and Empress will give you 300. Jones W, Kanan, Blood Moon Transit, I Love Lori, 121,409 reward 100 Lin Bai's heart thumped, cough, this. Meow, it's all my fault that I was shocked by the passionate video of the goddess, and didn't even notice the surrounding situation. It really can't blame him, no Diaozi can't help but be shocked when she sees the female star and person she admires. The feelings of jealousy, envy, and hatred will affect people's five senses, turning the originally smart people into pigheads, not to mention Lin Bai, who was originally not smart. Flower Shirt's eyes swept across the monitor next to him. You kid, the hard drive was repaired, and then I peeked at the contents, right? Lin Bai's first thought was to deny it, but on the monitor beside him, a man and a woman were still upside down, and from time to time ecstasy murmurs came from the speakers. How could he resist? After taking a half step back, I wanted to run, but I immediately thought, if you can run, the monk can't run away from the temple, this is my home. He had no choice but to stretch his hand back, on the table behind him, and quietly grab the hammer on the table. The underworld is amazing, isn't it? In my house, I will still knock you down with a hammer. However, before the mace could be smashed out, a pistol had already been placed on Lin Bai's forehead. Meow, do you have a gun? Lin Bai shuddered, and the hammer in his hand fell to the ground. Hua Shirt pointed the gun at the computer screen, turn off this thing and give me the hard drive. Lin Bai gave a wry smile, the pistol was on his forehead, what else was there to struggle with? He is not the protagonist of the Matrix, and he has no confidence in such a difficult technical action as flashing bullets. The Flower Shirt put the hard drive in his pocket, and snorted coldly, you killed yourself, no wonder you repaired the hard drive obediently, took the money and got out of the way, nothing happened, but you insisted on peeking at the contents inside. That is, there is only one dead end. Lin Bai Khan, this time is really dead. Usually, people in this situation will be silenced by murder, right? Oh, right. Do not be afraid. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came, and I checked this floral shirt with my watch in the morning. He only had 50 evil power points, which showed that he was not a vicious person. At least, he didn't do any big bad things. Lin Bai set a fire in the hotel, and easily rose to 214 evil power. It can be seen that 50 evil power is not even a fart. This Flower Shirt is definitely a little guy who has just joined the underworld and hasn't done any bad things yet. Because he took on the task of blackmailing Zhang Hezi, the organization gave him a pistol, which must have never been used before. Meow, he is not as evil as himself. Lin Bai was completely frightened, and gave full play to Diaozi's talent for stalking, and said shamelessly, Big brother, murder is a serious crime, and you have to pay for your life. If you kill me, you will be imprisoned for the rest of your life. It's better to hold your hand high and let me go. Yuma, I will never say anything about this. Flower Shirt hesitated for a while. If he shoots now, Lin Bai can go to heaven to report, but he has never killed anyone in his life. Although the organization gave him a pistol, he can only use a gun to scare people. Brave, dare not shoot at people. The two froze for a while. At this moment, the door of the Ajia beauty salon on the opposite side opened, and Brother Hong stepped out from the inside while clasping the belt buckle. Seeing his expression, he was obviously a little unfinished. Lin Bai was pointing a pistol to his head. I didn't forget to check the time, Brother Hong persisted in it for 13 minutes, which is a long time. It must be Jia who kept him for a while to help herself. Brother Hong walked into the store and was stunned. Why did you take out all the pistols? Huaxia immediately said quickly, Brother Hong, after this guy repaired the hard drive, he peeked at the contents inside. What should I do? Brother Hong was furious. Boy peeking? I'm impatient. He also took out a pistol from his trouser pocket and pointed it at Lin Bai's head. Lin Bai is now like a hero in a Hollywood blockbuster, with a pistol on his forehead in front and a pistol on his temples on the side. In the situation where he has two guns on his fingers, his whole body is weakening. Flower Shirt said, Brother Hong, you shot him down. Brother Hong was stunned. To be honest, this guy didn't have the guts to shoot people to death with a gun. He was also a small leader of the lower level of the organization. Khan said, you come. Hua Shirt sweated and said, Brother Hong, I'm not brave enough to shoot. Brother Hong scolded angrily, waste, you don't dare to shoot a gun, how can you join the underworld? Huaxia scolded inwardly, don't you dare not, why have you become a small leader? But he didn't dare to say it, so he had to say, how about, take him back and let the boss deal with it. Brother Hong was overjoyed, it makes sense. Let's catch a live one and go back, and the credit must be greater than killing him with a single shot. Huaxia thought to himself, there is a fart credit, this is an eyewitness, not a target, what's the point of catching the live ones back? Forget it, anyway, the people above will take care of him. The two of them lowered their voices together and threatened Lin Bai viciously, follow us. Double gun fingers, can you follow me? Lin Bai smiled bitterly, okay, I'll go with you. The two pistols were removed from his head and pressed against his lower waist. Lin Bai cried out in his heart, and was taken away by them. It was really bad luck, what should I do? If I shouted for help, I should be able to call the Demon Queen from the upstairs to help, but, these two guys didn't dare to shoot. Hearing me screaming for help, maybe I was timid, and they fired with a flick of my finger. When the time comes, the Demon King will not be able to save me, so just be obedient and slowly look for an opportunity to escape. He walked 2 steps with his head lowered, and suddenly found a black magic book sleeping beside his feet, which was the Demon King's Codex thrown away just now. By the way, I have the Demon King's Codex and Superman's underwear. As long as I make good use of these two things, there may be a chance to escape. Lin Bai pretended to tie his shoelaces, squatted down, and put the Demon King's code into his trousers pocket. There was already a pair of Superman underwear in his trousers pocket, but now he's tucked into a Devil King's Codex, it's very crowded. Since the birth of the mortal enemies of Superman and the Demon King, it is the first time that two signature magic weapons are so intimately bonded together. Regardless of each other. Lin Bai has inadvertently set a record, but he doesn't know it yet. Brother Hong kicked him and said, what are you doing? Hurry up. Lin Bai said, I can't walk if my shoelaces are off. He pretended to tie the shoelaces twice, then raised his hands and walked out of the store obediently. Once they got to the street, Brother Hong and the young man put away the pistols in their hands. When they got to the pocket, they pointed at Lin Bai to make him not dare to move. The three of them walked around the corner of the street. There was a dilapidated old van parked here. Brother Hong sat in the driver's seat, but the flower shirt led Lin Bai to the back seat. Lin Bai pondered how to escape. As long as Superman's underwear is put on, he can use his superpowers, but Lin Bai doesn't even have the slightest power of justice, only the power of evil 40, oh. No, I used a dark regeneration to repair the mobile hard drive just now. It should not be 40 now. Lin Bai glanced at his watch, which said Evil Force 30, Righteous Force 30. Without Superman's underwear driven by the power of justice, it is just a pair of ordinary underwear to him, and it can't save him. As for the Devil's Codex, he couldn't understand it at all. Now he only knows a dark regeneration magic, which is used to repair items. It can't provide any combat power, nor can it save him. Lin Bai was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot, his mood was like 15 buckets fetching water, up and down. Let him rack his brains, but he can't think of a way to escape. The old van drove out of the main urban area of Shuangqing City to the suburbs, and then drove straight into an abandoned factory, which seemed to be a long-abandoned porcelain factory. There is a large vase as tall as a person, but this vase is also broken, and the black ashes that have been burned can still be seen in several earthen kilns. As soon as the van entered, a man greeted him out. At first glance, this man was not a good person. He was dressed in sloppy clothes, his hair was neatly combed, and his eyes were very fierce. He looked like a bad person no matter what. The man beckoned to stop the car, and then shouted loudly, "Xiao Hong, have you brought anything?" The boss is already impatient. Brother Hong turned into Xiao Hong in a blink of an eye. Obviously this person has a higher status than him. Xiao Hong jumped out of the car and laughed with him, "Brother Tai, of course I brought something, just in the mobile hard disk." Li. It turned out that the man's name was Brother Tai. Brother Tai said with a sneer, "The video I took last night should have been delivered early this morning. It's afternoon now, what are you going to do?" Xiao Hong accompanied him with a smile, "I'm sorry, something happened in the middle. Waste." Brother Tai scolded, and then shouted, "Where's the hard drive? Quickly take it out." The flower shirt pushed Lin Bai out of the car. Brother Tai glanced at Lin Bai and asked curiously, "What is this kid doing? What is he here for?" Xiao Hong hurriedly smiled and said, this is an eyewitness, he saw the contents of our hard drive, and he was afraid that the news of his leak would lead to a note, so, brought him here." "Already? Witness? It won't work if the gun collapses." Brother Tai pulled a gun out of his waist after he finished speaking. He looked at his movements, his expression, his eyes without the slightest hesitation, his murderous aura. Lin Baixin bad name, this guy named Tai Ge seems to be a ruthless character who kills without blinking and has several lives in his hands. He is not on the same level as Xiao Hong. No wonder Brother Hong turns into Xiao Hong when he is in front of him. If the gun hits me, then it really kills me with one shot, and this time I'm going to die. In a hurry, Lin Bai shouted, "Hold on, don't kill me. I'm still useful." Brother Tai said with a sneer, "What else do you use?" Lin Bai shouted, I'm a computer expert, I can do anything related to computers. Aren't you threatening Chen Xi and Zhang's Hizi with a video? Then you have to show them a short paragraph before you can threaten them. I can edit the video for you, by the way, you still have to make threatening calls, I will use voice changing software, which can help you change the voice of your calls, so as to avoid being recorded by the police to hunt you down, don't kill me." When he roared, Brother Tai put down the pistol, "Yo, still a high-tech eyewitness. Editing the video and making a voice-changing phone call seems to be very cool. It's really useful. Let's go, see the boss." High-tech girl, these are all superficial computer applications. Lin Bai secretly scolded the underworld for being uneducated, but he couldn't say it. He obediently followed behind this group of bad guys. In the workshop,